The revolution's begun. The time to stand up has come. We are the rocking of the throne. We are the rocking of the throne.
Victor Tiffany with Revolt Against Plutocracy, the organization that's behind the Burn Your Bust 2020 voter pledge strategy. We established this channel to, in large part, to be able to address media criticisms and distortions of our particular electoral leverage strategy. And it didn't take long. This week, CNN published a piece by Nia-Malika Henderson titled "The Incredible Shrinking Bernie Sanders." That's the headline. And in it, she makes a claim about Bernie or Busters that apparently she pulled out of her rectum. I don't know where these so-called journalists get this information from, but she claims in the last go-around, New Hampshire, everything to Bernie Sanders. His one sure thing is he battled Hillary Clinton for the Democratic nomination. He routinely packed venues with Bernie or Bust supporters who saw him as the antidote to the kind of political incrementalism that they thought Clinton embodied. First of all, I wish his rallies were packed with Bernie or Busters. There's something like 10 to 15% of Bernie supporters ended up voting either for Jill Stein or writing in Bernie Sanders. That was the two-part approach last time, the flawed approach, because we didn't research the write-in idea. But nowhere's near was his rallies filled with Bernie or Busters. I would have loved that, but it just never happened. Initially, in New Hampshire, you know, that when he was first filling stadiums, Bernie or Bust wasn't even a slogan. He was filling stadiums before there even was Bernie or Bust. That's one point. And we never saw him as an alternative to Clinton's incrementalism. We saw him as a revolutionary taking on the establishment, taking on the neoliberalism of people like Hillary Clinton. It wasn't her incrementalism that bothered me, or bothered us, I should say. It was her establishment policies. It was her free trade corporate coups that were underway. Remember, she called the Trans-Pacific Partnership the gold standard of free trade agreements. She's all in on this corporate self-government business and a threat to American self-government, democratic self-government. So we saw, and not to mention her tendency to jump in every war that is available to jump into out there. She's a reckless warmonger. And so we saw Bernie as a revolutionary to take on these neoliberal establishment types like Hillary Clinton. And she wonders, you know, what's he going to do this time without Clinton? There's Joe Biden. She does mention the fact that Joe Biden is 20 points ahead in the same article, 20 points ahead of where Bernie is, or, you know, 20 points ahead of Bernie. Now, which is ridiculous. You know, at this time, 8 years ago, or I guess it was 12 years ago, Clinton was 30 points ahead of Barack Obama. And how'd that turn out? So this whole business of, you know, one of the things she gets at in this article, they want to have somebody who can defeat Donald Trump. Well, she never makes the association between Bernie or Bust and the fact that we are pledged to help defeat the nominee for the Democratic Party if that nominee is not Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard this time around. We have a plan B in case Bernie drops out. So it's got to be one of those two as the nominee, or Donald Trump will be reelected. That's what makes these two electable over Donald Trump, is that we won't sabotage him. If it's anyone else of these candidates, we're not going to get behind them. That's just the way it is. We pledge so. On our website, thousands are left over from 2016. We have 47,000 on our subscribers. We've gotten a couple thousand already this year, in this month, May. So we're way ahead of where we were. But she never makes any connection between Bernie or bust, what that means in terms of electability, and Bernie's electability. Because they don't give a shit about what Bernie or bust means and about what our motives are. CNN, the most trusted name in news, is not the most trusted name in news. In this case, Nia-Malika pulled facts out of her rectum because I guess she had an article to write. And she cared nothing about finding out what Bernie or bust was actually about. These journalists never reach out to us. They just spew nonsense. Oh, they're going to stay home on election day. No, never, ever did we advocate staying home on election day. And she didn't say that, but we get that from other so-called journalists. The previous video I did was a journalist claiming that if it's not Bernie, they're going to vote for Trump. That's Bernie or bust. No, that's not Bernie or bust either. So you really have to, of course, there aren't very many Bernie supporters who trust CNN, and this is just another example of CNN is garbage, the least trusted name in news. Thank you.
Revolt Against Plutocracy won't just be covering the news about the necessary revolution in the United States. Sometimes we'll be making the news. If you want to stay on top of the revolutionary actions and strategies of grassroots, genuine progressives, and our allies, please subscribe to our YouTube channel today.